If you've seen any of my recent videos, you've probably seen me wearing this Ringcon Gen 2 Air ring. And this ring honestly has solved a problem that I experienced with a lot of different rings. My first smart ring experience was with the Ultra Human ring, and that was awesome. I wore it for an entire year. I didn't change it out till recently as its battery degraded, which is something that we're going to get to in a sec. Now, the next ring that I tried was a Ringcon Gen 1, and I liked that, but it was too bulky for me. So between that and the Air, I had to just go with the Ultra Human, even though the Ringcon offered better battery life. Then I tried the Circle ring, and I just wasn't too fond of its design. It's intuitive, but practically it doesn't really work. So I didn't have a good experience with that. And that was probably the shortest amount of time I wore a ring. And then I tried the Ringcon Gen 2 Air, which was not as bulky as the first one, which I had a problem with, but also gave you great battery life and this AirPods type of case that lets you charge the ring wherever you go. And this is when things changed for me a little bit because I, at this point, had been wearing the Ultra Human ring for a whole year. And so I was like, you know what? Let's see a couple months with this and let's see what happens. And now, fast forward those couple of months, and in Japan alone, I did 200,000 steps with this ring alone. And it's just been a wonderful experience because this ring is solving the problem with smart rings. I said this even when I tried the Ringcon Gen 1 that I really liked this. The fact that you can charge anywhere and the fact that they have really long battery life. The Ultra Human a year later had degraded to the point where I was just getting 2 days. And every 2 days trying to charge the ring, and that was exactly what I was getting with my Apple Watch Ultra. And by the way, ever since I've been on the Ultra Human, that was the ring that actually got me off of the Apple Watch. I stopped wearing an Apple Watch and I haven't worn one in ages now. And so with the Ringcon Gen 2 Air, what I've really loved is just their design. It's really light. Like I'm telling you, like, even if you haven't worn a ring before, if you wear this and you wear it a couple days, you're gonna forget that you have a ring on. My my wedding band is really light, but even if I put that on, it feels like a brick compared to this. So that's one. Then it's really thin because they changed out the design from the first one and it just fits really nicely. I've worn it on different fingers from my index to my ring finger, and I've never really tried like the middle finger. I don't know why, but these two fingers, no problem whatsoever. Just the other day, I was talking to a friend and I was telling him, I was like, you know what I think about battery life is that if any device just lets me forget about charging, that's when it has great battery life. And this ring is exactly that because he had just gotten the Whoop, the second one that just came out. And so he was telling me about that, and I was sharing with him my experience of this. And I was like, I'm actually about to do a video on this. And so we are talking back and forth. And that's the beauty of this ring. It's just, it's very light, it's easy to wear at night, even easier than the Ultra Human. And then this this just is a key factor in my decision because I really love this with the first generation, but that one was just too bulky for me. So now that they've refined its design and really given it great battery life, great metrics, the app is really smooth. And that's one thing that, all right, like I haven't talked about it yet, but the app is smooth. Like I've noticed this with a lot of different apps, like whether it's the Ultra Human app or the Ringcon or the Circle Ring, the apps work great and they give you a nice view. Like with the Ringcon app, you get everything on your main page. So you get an overview of your sleep, your activity, heart, all these different things. But then when you tap on any one of those, it'll take you on a deep dive and really break down that data for you. So it's something that works well. Like I haven't had any single issue with the app ever. So it's really a smooth experience. And just the fact that I can track my sleep, I can track my daily activity, without even really thinking about it and without even thinking about that, oh, I need to charge this device because that becomes a pain, right? Like with the Ultra Human, that was my problem. Like initially, I got more days out of it, but as it degraded, that's when the problem started. Now, another thing to note is like, how does this compare to the Apple Watch? So, one experience I share with you is my wife was wearing her Apple Watch. She's got a Series 7, and I'm wearing the Ring, and we're both walking to the same places, obviously, because we're together while we were in Japan. And so we're getting like 20 to 30,000 steps a day. And one day in particular, I think we had 30,400 and something. I'll put the screen grabs on the screen for you. And what I noticed is that mine was more accurate because there was this one point, like, I remember we got to a hotel and I had like 29,000 steps, and I was like, hey, like, we were beat. We were like dead tired. I told her, I was like, look, let's get 1,000 steps more because what we can do is we can say for the first time that we actually got 30,000 steps. Like, we hadn't done that together on any trip before or individually. So, we started walking around like the hotel area, and I'm like counting in my head. And at this point, her watch is already dead. That was the other problem, is that if you have an Apple Watch, well, not only is it less accurate, but also it's not going to last you as long, especially when you're on trips like this to where your watch is constantly tracking you and sending you notifications. There's no way the battery's going to make it throughout the day. Whereas me, I went half my trip without even worrying about charging it. So that is another thing that I wanted to share with you in case you are thinking about an Apple Watch. Not only is this easier to wear, but it's more accurate, and given its battery life, it'll really let you go a little further. Now, one thing I talked about with my friend that just got the Whoop is that he's someone who works out. And see, this is where a ring, I think, becomes impractical. And maybe here's where you want to think about having maybe multiple devices, like maybe an Apple Watch for your workouts in the gym, but a ring for the rest of the time. You can also do that. It's not like you have to rely on one device only. So he got the Whoop simply because he works out and he can't wear a ring while doing weights and stuff. So that's one thing that you need to consider, that maybe, work with two different devices. Have a basic Apple Watch and also a ring, and, you know, figure out whatever works for you. I personally, because I don't work out or I don't do weights or anything, right? Even when I do things like push-ups and stuff at home, like it doesn't bother me. I keep the ring on and it's not really a problem. But anybody doing weights, that's a whole different story. So out of all the different rings I've tried, I if I had to pick again and if I had to start over knowing what I know now after trying all these rings, now, please keep in mind, I haven't tried the Aura Ring simply because I'm not interested in paying subscription fees every month just for all this data. Doesn't make sense to me, so I'm never going to do that. But out of everything I've tried that isn't subscription based, that's the Ringcon, Ultrahuman, Circle Ring. If I had to start over again, I'd start over with the Ringcon Gen 2 Air simply because lightweight, great battery life, great portability, it just checks all the boxes. I have no trouble whatsoever. And again, if you're somebody that wants to work out and stuff and you're not comfortable with a ring, then combine it with an Apple Watch and you're going to have a really, really good experience. I really hope that this video helps you. And if you do have questions, drop them in the comments down below. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. And most importantly, take care of yourself. And I will see you in the next video.